Gretel and Hansel is the story, of course, of Hansel and Gretel, which is kind of a common known story that everyone would know it. But I went into this movie literally knowing really nothing about the movie itself. I knew the story of Hansel and Gretel, but then when it came to the movie, I knew nothing because I hadn't seen a trailer. I didn't even know it was a thing until I went to actually look at the screen. Like, oh, there's a Hansel and Gretel movie. I'll go see that. So I went to see it, and I thought it was weird. For a story that in fairness, I was interested with the story as it was playing out. But even though I was interested, I found my mind kind of wandering off a bit, and I was kind of bored because not a lot actually really happens in the story. All the characters, they're fine, like all the acting is fine, especially from this boy who's, I think he's probably about 6 or 7. But usually with child actors, they can get very irritating and annoying, but he never did. He actually did a fair enough, really good job for like a 6-7-year-old in a kind of a C-list movie that is going to completely go under the radar. He did a pretty good performance as well. We do have the Beverly Marsh, I'm pretty sure her name is, from It Chapter 1. She's in this movie as well, which it kind of took me a while to realize that actually it was her because her hair is different. And then the main actual character of the witch, I don't recognize her. I don't know where she's from, but she played it really well because she played it really creepy and very, even though you shouldn't trust her because of what she does in the original book, but even though you just felt very at unease every time she came on screen because she just was a very creepy character. But as well, even though they have that kind of witch, they have a lot of kind of sidelines plots that are kind of started at the very start of the movie. They're kind of shown. There has one to start, and then maybe at the end of the first act there's another one established, but the one that's at the end of the first act doesn't really go anywhere. It shows it off. There's this character who I'm pretty sure was a priest, and at first I thought it was John Boyega. I was watching the movie like, was that John Boyega? And I Google at the end, it's not him. But I was watching, I'm like, how is this going to come back? And it never comes back, that entire plot. So I thought that was a bit odd. Why would they show something off like this when it was never going to come back? As well, the entire way they talk in this movie, it's really off-putting. The dialogue doesn't feel natural. It feels very forced, and it feels like all our characters are really forcing themselves to talk this way because it's very medieval type of way of talking, which in a way it doesn't really make sense for this time period because I'm assuming this is the late 1800s, and the fact that they're talking like that, it just didn't really work too well for me because it just felt very forced, and I didn't like the way they were talking. And then on the horror aspect for this movie, I didn't get scared once, which when it comes to horror, like this is our 3rd horror movie of the year I've seen. Every single one of them has just been a flat out disappointment for me, which I'm really sick of it. I just want a good horror movie. I know it's probably not too much to ask, but this movie, none of it was scary. They tried to set up a lot of scary sequences, but you can feel the sequences coming, and none of it really kind of hit the mark. And I didn't really like it as well. The ending of this movie, I just felt it really anticlimactic, and the whole thing about this movie, it felt like I was setting up something that just never really paid off. So I did not like this movie, and I would not recommend it. If you're a fan of the book, which I don't know if there's many fans of this book because it's such an old book. I think you're probably more of a fan of the, like, people always do kind of different versions. I say you're more of a fan of those rather than the original, but either way, if you were a fan of this book, of course you probably have seen it, but if you don't really know, I wouldn't really recommend it. I think this is going to be a movie that's going to go completely under the radar, and only the few people who have seen it in cinema are actually going to see this movie, because I can't imagine someone's going to like rush out and see this, or even not only rush out and see it, but once it's left cinema, I can't believe someone's going to actually like go out of their way to look for this movie, because it's not a great movie and I really wouldn't recommend it. But if you like this video, click that subscribe button so you can see other movie reviews just like this one, and as always, thanks for watching.